everybody, Ghostblade 1062 here with another rolling stock review. Today we will be looking at a EveModel 40-foot flat car in the DB cargo paint scheme, along with a Hapag-Lloyd 40-foot shipping container that I had purchased to go with it. And now, let's move on to the unboxing. Alright, taking a look at our two pieces of packaging here. The container itself is pretty simply packed, just in a Ziploc type bag, wrapped in some foam for extra protection. And that's it. But now onto the flat car itself. Here we have the box with a clear plastic front window, which in comparison to other brands looks like it was made upside down, with the top of the window going onto the bottom of the box. We have the EveModel logo here in the top right, top left. On the top we have an age restriction warning letting us know it's not meant for anyone under the age of 15. On the left side of the box we again have the EveModel logo. We see it as an HO scale flat car, product ID C8761, with no additional detailing on the right side of the box. And then on the back of the box, we have some prototype information, as well as manufacturer information. And now, to get the car out of the box here, there we go. This box is sealed quite tightly. We have the car in this two-piece shell. And here we have some foam to help keep it in place, as well as we have two weight plates. We have some sticky pads, which I assume are to keep the weight plates in place. And here we have the actual car itself. And next, we will move on to the detail overview section of the video. Time to take a closer look at the car and container. We'll start off with the container here, which at the front end, we see our connecting pins, as well as the slots on the top for connecting pins. As well as we have our container number here, this being HLXU 8548858. Moving on to the side here, we have the Hapag-Lloyd logo printed on. We do have a little bit of damage here on the corner, where it looks like the container has been struck. And moving towards the end here, we again have the container number. On the end here we have some nice molded in detailing. We have again the Hapag-Lloyd logo, the container number. We have nice molded in door hinge detailing, which is separately painted in a silver color and really stands out nicely with the hinges being clearly visible as well as the latches. And then we have our container capacity information here on the right side as well. The last side looks much like its counterpart. And then on the top on either side we again have the container number and our underside, which doesn't offer much additional detailing. But all in all, the corrugation is done nicely on this container. It is fairly light though, so I may have to look at adding in some weight so that the car and container don't get pulled off the track. But now, moving on to the flat car itself. Starting on the end here, we have our coupling hook right above where the coupler is. We have our rectangular buffers, which are common in modern era European equipment. Moving on to the side here, we have our crane hooks here. And we have some decent molded in suspension detailing, as well as brake detailing on our axles. Our car number is 21804425-102-1. And it is an LGS type car. Moving towards the center here, we have the DB Cargo logo on the frame here. We also have our subframe here to help stabilize the body of the car, followed by our second wheel axle box here, again with spring leaf spring detailing and brake detailing, and our crane hook. Along the body we also have all of these protrusions, which are in place for putting different size containers. And again, looking at this end, we have our coupling hook and buffers, and on our last side, again, much of the same detailing. The top doesn't offer much additional detailing. From here we can just see our spots for the container pins to lock containers in place of various sizes, as well as we get a glimpse of the underside detailing. And looking at the underside, we have our subframe, our main frame here. We have our air reservoirs and brake cylinders here as well. We can see that we have metal axles and wheels, which is nice, especially considering that EveModel is a more value branded company. And we see our NEM shafts on either end here holding our current couplers. However, they do not center properly. So there is something not quite properly aligned with the springs inside. But all in all, given for what it is a somewhat decently detailed model. It's nice to see that we have our road name and road numbers available, as well as our capacity information here. And next, we will move on to the rip track segment to make sure this car is ready for the track. Time for the rip track segment. To start off with, we are going to verify the wheel gauge of the flat car using the NMRA standards gauge. And axle number 1 is in proper gauge. As is axle number 2. So we're off to a strong start. And next up, we are going to change the couplers over to some EveModel knuckle couplers. Given my track record with the EveModel number 19 couplers, I'm going to be adjusting the coupler trip pin here prior to installation, as they do tend to be hanging too low and catching on switches, causing shorts. Okay, that's number 1. And number 2 out. Alright, coupler number 1 is in place. And number 2. So now to just verify the coupler height. And this car doesn't have a defined front and rear, so alright, coupler number 1 is sitting fairly low. Now for the other one. It is also sitting very low, and the trip pin is, despite adjustment, is still sitting too low. On both ends, so I will have to further adjust that. Or possibly even remove them altogether. There we go. There we go, that's slightly better, but still cutting it too close. This one is good though. Alright, so that's corrected. So next I will take the car and container over to the track for a test run. Alright everybody, this concludes my review of the EveModel 40-foot flat car with the EveModel 40-foot Hapag-Lloyd shipping container. By ways of the flat car itself, it is running smoothly on the track, so there is no issues there. The couplers sitting as low as they are may prove to be an issue in the future, as well as the fact that the NEM shafts aren't centering properly, so I will have to look into that at some point. The container itself was nicely detailed for its price, which I did not expect, though it is very light, so I will have to look into adding additional weight to it in the future. But all in all, still fairly well done. And aside from that, I don't really have much more to say on the matter. The only real issue that I found was with the boxes not sitting straight and them being low. But all in all, a good runner. That being said, if you enjoyed the video, leave a like and a comment, and subscribe for more model railroad content. Have a great day, everybody.